Management of cash is very important to run your working capital efficiently. Everything is cash. Inventory will be converted into cash, receivables will be converted into cash, and then your suppliers, you will need to pay them. So even those will be converted into cash. In receivables, your cash is in your customers' hands. In payables, your supplier's cash is in your hand. And in case of inventory, your cash is stuck in inventory. So it all comes to cash after all, that how to manage cash well. Cash is a double-edged sword. Having too much is considered not good, surprisingly, and having too little is obviously is not a good sign. So why having too much is not good? If there's too much cash stuck in your account and you have nothing to do with it, that is a bad sign. That means you're out of ideas. You have nothing to invest in, and the investors could take a bad signal from it. If you have cash, you should invest in the long-term assets and produce more products with it, sell more stuff with it, provide more services with it. The treasurer, the people who are responsible to manage cash in large businesses, they always have this cash budget in front of them, where they know how much cash they are going to have at what point, and then they pre-planned where they are going to invest money for short-term or long-term to keep their cash working for them. Most of the businesses who have extra cash, they will either invest for short-term in fixed deposit, or they will buy shares in another company which they think would go up, and sometimes they would buy derivatives, which are instruments like futures and stuff like that, where they think they can make money. So that's one, when you have too much cash, which is a different sort of a problem. When it comes to having little cash, that is actually a bigger problem. And the first thing you need to think about, how can you increase it? The first obvious option would be to collect money from your receivables, your credit customers. So you can give them incentives, you can give them early payment discounts. So if you have allowed credit sales to your customers and they will pay you in 3 months or 2 months times, then you can give them 2% or 5%, whatever works for the treasurer, discounts to collect money from them early. So that is one option businesses would consider. Sometimes they would do the debt factoring. Now the debt factoring is a concept where you sell your receivables to a bank, for example, or there are other companies who do this kind of business. So for example, if your outstanding sales, your receivables are 1 million, you go to the debt factoring company and say, we are supposed to collect 1 million from our customers and we would like to raise finance against this. And they would actually look at the figures, then they would look at your previous bad debts and doubtful debts figures, and then they would come up with a rate of interest on that, and hence you can generate cash. So receivables could be converted into cash fairly quickly at a loss of some money. So you might not be able to get whole 1 million for your 1 million worth of receivables. You might generate 0.9 million, which is still good enough if you need cash on urgent basis. The other thing would be to hold your suppliers' money, which you can for a limited time period. It may not be the best thing to do. And the third would be to try to sell your inventory. Now the inventory is the least liquid asset. If you do that, you may not be able to recover the cost of the inventories. In worst case scenarios, people lose up to 70% or 90% in case of bankruptcy, lose a value of their inventories. For example, you must see, these 70% sales, these are the sales at a loss. Apart from that, you could always ask for a bank overdraft if you're running out of cash. Bank overdraft are a very common feature of working capital for medium to large size businesses, and banks do allow overdraft to the businesses on regular basis. However, the problems with the overdraft is that the one bank can cancel it at a very short notice. Sometime in weeks, they give you a week notice and then they cancel your bank overdraft. And you have to pay a very heavy interest rate on overdrafts as well, like up to 10, 15, 20% in comparison to the long-term loans, which are 2%, 5% for businesses. In my personal experience, I used to work for a company which used to pay their staff using their overdraft facility of £200,000. So that was the payroll. And the bank canceled their overdraft due to credit crunch, and they had to they end up firing staff or making staff redundant because of that. So that is a very acute example of the poor management of cash. Many businesses they go bankrupt not because they are not profitable. They go bankrupt because they run out of cash. And it does happen to many businesses.